Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and to a new vlog. Yes, you heard right, a new vlog. This week I've got a virtual vacation scheme. This has been provided by Legal Cheek in conjunction with the University of Law. Really looking forward to it. There are going to be like a series of different sessions on throughout each of the days this week. So definitely looking forward to it. But before I talk more about that, I'm going to do what I normally like to do on a morning, which is get a good cup of tea and read a new book. Like I said, I did my morning routine, so I've been reading Amsterdam by Ian McEwan. I finished the last book I was reading, so I needed something new to read, so I had to buy some books online. I've only read the first chapter of this book, but it does sound quite interesting, so I'm looking forward to reading more of it. And I also listened to a podcast as well. The one I was listening to was from the Financial Times, which was quite interesting. So yeah, I've got my virtual vacation scheme this week. I'm glad that they've put something on. It's nice, given obviously the current situation that we're in. For this, they've got a schedule for each day. So starting off, there's an introductory piece by Legal Cheek and the University of Law. And then there's going to be an hour-long session. So looking forward to that. And yeah, let's get going. Just attended my first session of this vacation scheme. It was looking at the coronavirus pandemic and comparing the situation that we've got at the moment with the situation that came with the financial crisis in 2008 and looking at the idea of government bailout of industries. And that was quite an interesting talk looking at those similarities and differences. We've been given a little task to do. It's basically just to think of reasons for and against bailing out certain industries that are being affected at the moment. So, for example, retail, airlines, theatre, for example. So what I'm probably going to do in this break, because the next session is not till about 2 o'clock. So what I'm probably going to do is finish that task and get that done and type up some notes, because I did make a few notes while the session was on. Not a lot, but I made a few notes. I'm going to probably type those up as well. Managed to get the task pretty much done. There wasn't too much to do. And I've had something for lunch. The next session is coming up in less than 10 minutes. It's on understanding the commercial legal market with 2 guest speakers. So it should be quite an interesting event. Definitely looking forward to it. The second session is now over. Really interesting, looking at the differences between private practice, so looking at law firms and in-house lawyers, so those who work within the company itself. And we had 2 speakers, very interesting session looking at the differences, looking at the future of practice, very informative, very insightful. The platform that they're using for this is very interesting. So it's Hoplin, and the session took place on the stage, as it were. And then there was networking afterwards, where we are randomly assigned to speak with someone who is taking part in the scheme, only for 3 minutes. So you only get a chance to speak for them for 3 minutes, and you get a chat to them about the session, introduce yourselves, etc. And then after those 3 minutes are over, it ends, and then you go on to the next person, and it's randomly selected. So it's quite an interesting system. Those were the main sessions for today. There is another event happening later on today, and more about that later. In the meantime, I'm probably going to type up the notes that I did make and just do 1 or 2 of things that I want to do. The final thing that's on for today is a quiz that I've decided to put on. Something different, something light-hearted, something nice to end the day and this first day of the virtual vacation scheme. So looking forward to that, and yeah, that'll be the final thing for today. The quiz has come and gone, and it was really good fun. Just something nice to end the first day of the vacation scheme with. The first day has been really good sessions. The one this morning was really good, and the one this afternoon was also really good as well. Very insightful. Looking forward to day 2 tomorrow, and that should be good as well. After I had the quiz, which was at about 6, I then had something for dinner, and what I'm going to be doing just for the rest of the evening is getting on with another virtual internship that I'm doing. This one's just online, and it's a human rights law based one, so I'm going to be continuing with that. Welcome to day 2 of the vacation scheme. The first session's at 10 o'clock, so in about half an hour's time, live as a debt finance lawyer, which should be quite interesting. We've been sent a case study exercise to have a look at. So I got one yesterday, and I'll get one on Wednesday and Thursday. We get one sent each day for between Monday and Thursday. And we don't have to submit it in, but we will get like a model answer that they have prepared at the end of the week, so we can compare our answers to what they have provided. And it's just an opportunity to think about what we've looked at in the sessions for that particular day, and to think about the wider issues and to apply them through doing that exercise. The session was quite informative, so it was given by an associate from Ropes and Gray, which is a law firm. He talked about what is debt finance, the kind of work that he does, and gave some advice at the end. Then there was a Q&A that came after his main talk, and then they talked a little bit about the case study that I need to complete. So that was quite good. The next session is at 2 o'clock again. So what I'm probably going to do now is to type up the notes that I made and maybe have a look at the case study exercise. I've had something for lunch, and I was able to type up the notes from the previous session and start the exercise. Probably try and finish that today, hopefully. About to end into the next session. This one is titled Meet the Legal Technologists. So it should be quite a fascinating and interesting session. The final session for today was really good and very insightful. I had a panel of speakers talking about legal tech, the growth of legal tech and the growth of legal engineering, and talking about their own experiences in this matter. And it was really interesting to hear about this area, something that I hadn't really thought about before, something that I didn't really know anything about. That was the final session for day 2. Day 2 has been really good. Just get me to think a lot more about not just the law, but the bigger picture, the context, and the other aspects, the other relationships that law has to technology, as we looked at in the second session. So it has been really good, and I'm looking forward to day 3. Probably what I'm going to be doing now is type up the notes that I made from the second session, and then get on with that task that I need to get on with. I've pretty much done the study exercise for today. There'll be a new one out tomorrow. Had something for dinner, and I've just finished another internship that I was doing. This was a virtual internship based on human rights law, provided by Liu Kusin and Inside Sherpa. Now, it was based on Australian law, but I found it really interesting, very exciting, able to look at topics like disability discrimination, deportation, employment, etc. And that was self-paced, so I could do that at any time. And I've completed that today, so I'm really pleased with that. I very much enjoyed it, and it was a good chance to develop some useful skills like researching, for example. I might do a video talking about this in more detail, but that's what I've been doing this evening. Probably not do much for the rest of the evening. I'll catch you for day 3 of the vacation scheme. Good morning and welcome to day 3 of the virtual vacation scheme. Only 2 items on the schedule for today. Got a session this afternoon at 2, but coming up at 9 o'clock there is wellness breakfast. So we'll see what that is about. The wellness breakfast session was kind of like a workshop, a little bit of meditation, yoga, and then there was a Q&A afterwards. It was just something different, something to start the day with, and it was quite interesting to hear from the main individual who was running it. She's an associate, but she talked about like mental health and talked about her work and gave a bit of advice as well, so that was quite interesting. The next session is not till 2 o'clock, so got quite a while till then. What I'm probably going to do is maybe have a look at the case study, though we are going to focus on that in the session itself, so I probably won't do too much on that. So I'm just about to go into the session for this afternoon. It is titled Life as a Litigator. It's a workshop based around dispute resolution, so it should be quite interesting, quite informative. And the program which was sent tells us about the speakers for each session. And this one's got a solicitor from Mitchell and 2 barristers. So looking forward to this session. That session was probably the best session so far of this virtual vacation scheme. Like I mentioned, it was titled Life as a Litigator, 2 barristers and 1 solicitor speaking, talking about what they do, the kind of work that they do, etc. And it was really good, really insightful. And especially for me as someone who aspires to be a barrister, it was really good to hear from the 2 barristers in particular. All had very interesting things to say. And it was just a really good session overall. And that's the final session for day 3. Has been really good today, just as has been for the previous days. What I'm probably going to be doing for this afternoon, at least initially, will be to finish off the case study exercise. I did start a little bit earlier, but I'm going to try and finish that now that the session is over, and then I'll see what else I need to get on with. I was able to get the task done for today. There'll be a new one coming out tomorrow. So far, this vacation scheme has been really good. Very much enjoyed it, and I've learned a lot so far, and I'm looking forward to the 2 days that are left. So I'll see you in the morning for day 4 of the vacation scheme. Welcome to day 4 of the virtual vacation scheme. The first session's coming up shortly at 10 o'clock. This one's looking at the green economy, so it should be quite interesting. Got some interesting speakers who will be taking part in that session. We've been sent the study exercise as well, which we'll be going through a little bit in that session. It's a prioritization exercise. The session was really good, looking at the green economy. Each of the 3 speakers were talking about what they do, talking about the importance of the green economy, things to look out for, and then there was a bit of a Q&A, and then we went through a little bit of the study exercise as well. Really interesting session, focusing, like I said, on the green economy, a little bit of environmental law, which I'm quite interested in. Now I'm probably going to get on with typing up the notes from that session, getting on with the exercise, because the next session is not till 2 o'clock. As well as making notes from the previous session and doing the study exercise, I had a meeting with my director of studies. They are responsible, for those who don't know, for the academic side of things. So for example, organising supervisors and who you're going to have for that particular academic year. And he just wanted to catch up with me in terms of how I felt the exams went, my plans for the summer, etc. So that was quite good. I'm about to head into an employability expo for this vacation scheme. There's essentially different booths and there's different sessions that we can attend. So I'm going to see what the sessions are and decide which ones I'm going to attend. I've just been to the employability expo. The way it worked in Hoplin, the platform they've been using, is that there was a section called Expo. You go into that and there were different booths for the different sessions that were being put on. For example, there was one on interviews, and so you go into that and you could attend that session for an hour, and then once that hour's up, you would come off, go back onto Expo, and then you would click on to a different session and attend that one for an hour. And so I attended 2 sessions. I attended the first one on application strategy, and the person conducting that gave some good advice about application, talking about things to think about, how to demonstrate particular qualities, for example. And then the second session I went to was about interviews, and that was really useful because she was giving tips about how to impress an interview, how to prepare for an interview, but also the different types of interviews. So for example, like video interviews or telephone interviews or face-to-face interviews. So that was really useful. Both of those sessions were really useful and has given me a lot to think about in terms of what I need to do. I need to get prepared and think about career applications, etc. So yeah, those have been really good. Day 4 has come to an end in terms of the vacation scheme, just one more day left. For now, what I'm probably going to do is type up some of the notes I've been making. I've typed up the notes from the sessions that I attended earlier today. Like I said, those sessions were really insightful, definitely a lot to take away from them. Afterwards, got on with a few bits and pieces, but also took some time to relax as well. 4 days of the vacation scheme are over, just one more left tomorrow. Definitely looking forward to it. I'll catch you in the morning. So this is it, the final day of the virtual vacation scheme. I've really enjoyed it so far. Got 2 main sessions on today. The first of those sessions will be based around insolvency and employment law, and it's titled Counter-Cyclical Work, so it should be quite interesting. So I found that session on counter-cyclical work quite interesting, focusing on insolvency, restructuring and employment. Each of the speakers were talking about what they do, but also talking about the impact that COVID-19 has had on the areas that they practice in. I particularly enjoyed the speaker who was talking about employment law. Employment law is an area I am interested in, and I'm thinking of taking that as an option for third year. What I'm probably going to do now is type up the notes that I made during that session and then do a couple bits and pieces until the final main session at 2 o'clock. Got those notes typed up and I'm about to go into what will be the final main session of this vacation scheme. It's looking at legal aid and pro bono in practice, so it should be quite interesting. I can't believe it is the final main session. I can't believe the vacation scheme is almost coming to an end. It has been really good and I've heavily enjoyed it, and I'm sure this session will be just as good as the previous ones. The final official session looked at pro bono and legal aid in practice, focusing on social welfare law, and it was a really inspiring session. The 2 speakers talked about their experiences, talked about the importance of legal aid and pro bono and what they do, and it was really interesting to hear about their experiences and the kind of work that they do, the kind of clients that they have, etc. There is a social this evening. I'll see if I'm able to go to that, and I should be getting my certificate by the end of today. And yeah, so it has been really good. What I'm probably going to do is type up the notes from that session and then just get on with a few bits and pieces. In the end, I didn't go to the social. The reason for that was I was attending a webinar. This webinar was looking at the pandemic and looking at issues around privacy and surveillance. And a really interesting webinar. It was being put on by the Cambridge University Amnesty International. And so, yeah, it was quite interesting to hear from the different speakers on the issues around privacy and surveillance, etc. I did get my certificate. You'll see the certificate on the screen now to confirm that I took part and completed the virtual vacation scheme. I have really enjoyed it. It's been an eye-opener. I've learned so much and there's a lot to take away from it. I might do a video on this, watch this space on that. Hope you have enjoyed this vlog. If you have, don't forget to do the usual things like follow me on Facebook and Instagram, like in the video, comment if you've got any questions or queries, etc. And you can subscribe to the channel. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner and subscribing. Hit the notification bell as well to keep up to date with any new content. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.